So, why are narcissists able to love bomb and then devalue their partner or others at the drop of a hat? What seems so easy? Keep watching and I'll explain. So, you've probably heard the term out of sight, out of mind. And there is this theory about object constancy. So, what that means is children will develop it as they're younger to understand that, for instance, when the parent leaves the room, that parent still exists. They no longer cease to exist. So, with a narcissist, what happens is because they don't have an empathy and they don't feel a bond with you, they really cannot care about you if you're not around. And then, if you're any threat to their ego or they're even remotely upset with you, they can't hold on to both things at the same time. So, in other words, if you had a friend you were close to, and let's say you're feeling some anger towards that friend, you can still care about that friend. Your feelings can be very complex, and you can still hold that person in your heart and also feel that anger towards them. So, you're able to have those two things exist at the same time. With a narcissist, they can't do that because the bond, the empathy that holds that bond together, the glue, it's just not there. So if you've hurt their ego in any way, if you've done even anything, it could be standing up for yourself, it could be that you're just not a doormat anymore, then they're going to shut you down, discard you, devalue you in some way, go on to someone else quite easily because they just don't feel that bond. And it's like, okay, see ya. Really not putting much of a care into it. Narcissists also lack empathy and have an excessive sense of entitlement. So basically, out of sight, out of mind applies to them emotionally if their ego is harmed or their sense of entitlement is rattled. They'll devalue the partners they love bomb without much empathy or remorse because they're not caring how building a close relationship with someone and then suddenly pretending that person doesn't exist will affect the other person because they're just ego driven. They're just all about themselves. They're not able to feel what you might be going through. So it's not a true bond or attachment with that person. Now, why can they so easily replace you? So again, the lack of object constancy or the lack of empathy, distorted emotional permanence is what drives narcissistic or psychopathic people to pit one against another. So sometimes they almost have like a harem of, if they're male, they might have a harem of women to kind of play with, to kind of keep supply around just for them to not go without, like a kid in a candy store. They seem to devalue people at the drop of a hat to pursue someone else that they deem more novel or exciting. They do this because they're attracted to status and prestige, and they'll put people into different categories of high value and low value based on what people can do for them or offer them at the time. So that's why they might seem arbitrary or off-putting. Once they put you on a pedestal, they might make you important or cherished, and then they can just as easily push you off that pedestal and go after someone else and put them up on a pedestal. So it's very fleeting. So the worst part is that you'll feel such shock and betrayal, especially if you're married to that person or you've been with them for a while. It's really hard to understand that this person who once was so into you and so interested they've lost interest, or they've devalued, or they've triangulated, or they've even just gone on to another target. The one thing about narcissists is that the emotions they'll show rage if you challenge them. They'll gaslight you. What are you talking about? No, of course I would never cheat, and they're cheating. Stonewalling you to punish you, or silent treatment. They can't have both feelings. They can't have that feeling of, I still have a close relationship with this person and love them, and they hurt my ego. It's very immature. It's like that child, that very young child. I hate you, I hate you. In that moment, they can't hold on to those two thoughts at the same time. And then they also have a sense of ego and entitlement. And if you're challenging that, they can't handle it. So if we go on the very more extreme end of the spectrum, right to the psychopath, they'll take it even further because they're very prone to boredom and they're sensation seeking because of that. So they'll become very irritated, very bored quite easily, even if they spent a long time building a close relationship or bond, but they have no emotional depth at all. So even though they'll feel really intense to you, they're really quite shallow. And no matter how much they seem like they're into you, they can grow bored quite easily, and they're always just looking for the next exciting, best thing. So the individual, the bonds are just alliances. They can be devalued or discarded at a moment's notice. And if the target, you, does something to challenge their sense of superiority, they're going to go into rage. They're just going to be raging at you like, how dare you? How dare you challenge me? They really think they're superior. They get this, it's like a drug to them. They do get a sense of euphoria when they love bomb, because they're caught up in the novelty and the excitement of it. And they might even convince themselves in that fleeting moment that they do feel something, but they're really feeling just the high from the drug, which is you, because you're exciting and new to them at that moment. And then it can just feel like almost overnight, a lot of people will say, I don't know how this happened. They were so devoted to me 1 minute, and now they're running off with somebody else the next minute, or comparing me to this new person in a very unfavorable way and praising them for the very qualities that they praised me for. So it's almost like you no longer exist to them. They don't see you anymore. You don't matter. You're just the boring wife or the very unexciting person. Oh, she wasn't who I thought she was. Or if it's a woman, women can do this too. He wasn't who I thought he was. This new one, oh, they're so exciting. They have all the qualities I'm looking for. They have everything I'm looking for. It's always the pursuit of novelty. It's a lack of empathy. It's the object constancy. It's one of the reasons that narcissistic or psychopathic people can ruthlessly devalue and mistreat people they've been with, even for a really long time, with such ease. So if you are in a relationship with anybody like this, it's important to know, to see those red flags and to understand this is not healthy. This is very toxic. It's never going to get better. It'll only get worse. The only thing that you can do when you can, it's not always easy or you can't always do it at that moment, is to get yourself out. You cannot form a relationship or a bond with a narcissist, a psychopath, anybody on that spectrum who lacks empathy, because they are not capable of love. They're not capable of giving you what you need. And so the sooner that you're able to extricate, the sooner you're able to leave this situation, the better that you're going to be. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.